Consequence Podcast Network.
Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with an audio interview series presented by WFPK Independent Louisville, Consequence of Sound, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Today my guest is the band the DMAs, talking with Johnny Took about their new record, For Now. We get to hear about what went into the record, writing lyrically simple songs and being inspired by Bruce Springsteen, the challenges of being a touring rock band in 2018, getting away from those Oasis comparisons, and getting praise from Andy Bell. It's Kyle Meredith with the DMAs.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, good.
It's been really great to see you guys' evolution. I've been a fan since the song Laced, and it's just gotten better. So congrats on the new release.
Hey, thanks, man. It's pretty nice just to have more music out there, you know?
Now, the second record, historically, a lot of bands don't get that much time to focus on it, you know, whether you're making it piecemeal or you're having to rush into it. Did you feel like you had the time? Because there's really a notable focused direction on this one.
I think there was one of two things. The first was that, so before DMAs had even really played live or done anything, we were more of a bedroom kind of recording studio band. We hadn't even really thought of playing live because that's why it's promoted as the three of us because it was like that for so long. But one of the reasons we did that was so if things did go well, we'd have enough songs up our sleeve or whatnot to keep the momentum going. So we had a fair few songs up our sleeve. There are still lots of new ones on the record, but then a mix between that and using Kim Moyes from the Presets, who kind of gave us a lot of support and helped push us in the right direction of where we wanted the songs to be at, which was nice. In some ways, I actually found it easier.
There's been a lot of talk about the sounds. The breadcrumbs of the DMAs are all there, but it's a different sound. This is not the first record. You came out and you garnered comparisons to a lot of bands, probably most notably Oasis, but you didn't seem to run from that. Did you feel like you wanted to get away from those comparisons? Because I really don't hear many of them on this record.
Yeah, I guess we thought about it a lot more this time around. You know, I guess in our naivety, like being younger, and when we did Hills End, you know, like I said, we recorded it in my bloody bedroom. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just kind of smashed it out, and the amp was in the same room as us. But we weren't even, you know, we didn't even know what it sounded like, and we kind of just did it, and then we're like, oh yeah, you know, there's a couple of alright tracks on this record, you know, so let's just see how it goes. And I guess that having a bit more time and knowledge under our belt and extensive touring we did over that time, I guess, because while you're touring, you're listening to music and seeing different bands play and constantly being inspired. So I don't know. I think it was a healthy change, and it just came from us thinking about it a little bit more. You know what I mean? Thinking about what kind of sounds we wanted to use and what kind of temperament we wanted the record to have in general, because it's a bit of a slower burn than the first one. But I think I kind of prefer it as a record.
Did touring the world have a direct effect on the new record?
I just think it kind of opens your mind a bit to, like, it's not just about where you kind of grew up in Sydney and the other side of the world, and like, not that, you know, everyone's like that, but, you know, you always have your limitations because of wherever, you know, you grew up and you know what you know. And I guess really seeing different music scenes, you know, all through North America and Europe and UK and all that kind of vibe, it was just quite eye-opening. And, you know, playing festivals you've never heard of, I feel like that you should have heard of because they're fucking crazy. So I don't know. I think it's just like a whole bunch of facets that just kind of, you know, combined it to go, well, hey, we're doing, you know, we could actually have a stab at this now, and so maybe we should just think about it a bit more. Because I feel like there's just like lots of little things. Also, like the foundations of For Now were like the acoustic guitar, the bass, and the drums were all recorded live. So there's kind of that aspect to it. But it's also done to tape, so that it sounds a bit more hi-fi, but there's a warmth and a depth to it, I feel, in compared to then.
I don't know how much you can speak to the lyrics, but lyrically, it's a simple record. And I don't mean that condescending in any way. I mean that a lot of bands, you know, maybe trying to capture what's happening politically or whatever, and some are nailing it and some are missing it. But either way, it's almost like it's its own breath of fresh air to hear a record that isn't overcomplicating its subjects.
Those are the kind of songs we write, you know. We don't try and I guess, be overly tricky like that. And we like, I find like when you listen to someone like Springsteen or, whatnot, and you hear like the beauty in like the most simplest lines, I guess that's where lots of the inspiration comes from. Even like with Wilco and like, who I'm a big fan of, and, and the Jesus and Mary Chain and heaps of bands like that. There's real simple lyrics that just can resonate. I guess we try and do that the best we can.
To be a rock band in 2018, it seems like one of the hardest things to do sometimes. Does it feel like a challenge? Do you feel challenged by that?
It does. I think it's a finicky time for guitar music at the moment. But I think it's important that, and there are still lots and lots of great rock bands out there and guitar-driven bands. So, and I think it just comes in, music comes in droves. Like, it's going to, when I say music is timing in more ways than one. The guitars will come back again. But we're just trying to stay true to, what we like and what we feel is right.
And that phrase, the title of the album, For Now, to me, it's an uncertain phrase. I don't know how much meaning it has for you. I saw it as a sort of ellipses, not so much as a promise. It's for now. What does it mean for you?
Well, it was actually that title, the opening track was one of that and Do I Need You Now were like the two first songs that Tommy and I had written together. And we obviously didn't have, and I think it was as simple as we didn't have a name for it, so we just called that song For Now, and it seems to, it's kind of understated, which, I don't know, I feel like we're pretty understated kind of dudes, We kind of like the fact that, once again, it's kind of simple, but can make you think as well.
I've heard you all talk about Time and Money being a favorite. What makes it stand out over the others?
I think there's a couple that really love that song. I think it's mainly the mix, to be honest. I think we always really liked it. It was one of the first songs that we'd written kind of like, I think I wrote the chorus in Bill Bauer, Spain, and Tommy wrote the verses during a sound check when we were sound checking in Fremantle, in Perth. And I think I was playing the chords to like Racing in the Street by Bruce Springsteen, and he started singing the verse melody over the top. So I guess it was one of the first tracks that was kind of written during the touring cycle. But I think it's mainly the mix. Sometimes the mix just comes back and every facet of it just feels right and it just really connects.
I saw Andy Bell on Twitter saying that DMAs are the future. That's got to be fun. Are you getting used to the praise coming from your heroes?
Oh, it's just, it's pretty crazy, man. I don't know. I never thought Andy Bell would be like, I got to meet him the other night. We had a beer. It was just really cool. He's just a real lover of music and sort of like, probably like one of the nicest guys I've met. And like just to be able to even just sit down and talk to him about music and whatnot, and the fact that he hadn't seen us live before that London gig last week, and he was just really blown away, and it was cool. It was just really, it's really cool when you get the thumbs up from your peers and your colleagues and stuff, other people who are creating music and doing, the same thing you do. It's always nice.
Well, Johnny, it's been a pleasure talking. Congratulations on For Now. It's really been exciting to see what you all have done and what you're doing. So I'll see you when you get back to the States.
All right, man. Thanks for the chat.
All right, man. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, brother. Bye.
Thanks so much to Johnny Took from the DMAs for giving me the call. The brand new record is called For Now. Don't forget, you can subscribe to Consequence of Sound's YouTube channel to keep up with your favorite artists and interviews. For you podcast fans, head over to iTunes, Podchaser, wherever you're listening to this. Give us a rating and a review. And also WFPK.org. That's where I do a show every Monday through Thursday from noon to 3 Eastern. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.